Good morning. I want to make sure that you can hear me. So if you can hear me, if you can put like a 1 in the chat, just want to make sure you can hear me. I'm looking on my computer back here because I'm going to have to look at the computer for comments later on when we do questions. Okay. Okay. I can see myself, but I don't know if you can hear me. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for joining. Can you put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? Just want to make sure you can hear me before I start with everything. Okay, great. Thanks so much for letting me know you can hear me. So welcome to Second Saturday. My name is Shar Halliburton. I'm an author, speaker, and the CEO of Shar Detroit Publishing. I am excited today to present to you the ultimate book cover checklist. And before I get into that, there is an announcement that I want to share with you. Sylvia is always encouraging us to get out and to, show up in spaces where our readers are. Today, she's going to be at a program called Connecting Chapters Through Written Thoughts and Voices. It's going to be located on the east side of Detroit. The entry is $25. And let me give you the address. And I'll also put the address in afterwards. But the address is 11036 Whittier Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. And today is going to be from 2 p.m. through 5 p.m. Okay, again, that address is 11036 Whittier Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. And we will post the flyer in the group afterwards. So Sylvia wants everyone to show up if they can today for support. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the quiz that we had beforehand. And welcome to everybody. Before I get started, thank you so much, Sylvia, for giving me the platform. Hi, Elder K. Thanks so much for joining. Barbara, thanks so much for joining. And let's go ahead and answer some of the true or false questions. Did you take a chance? Did you take time to answer the question? If you did, then that's great. So the first question is true or false? If I pay a graphic artist to make my book cover, I automatically own the copyright of the book cover. You paid them, right? Do you own the copyright of the book cover just because you paid a graphic artist to create your book cover? Is that true or false? The answer is false. Paying does not give you the total copyrights to your book cover. Now, what needs to happen is you need to have a work for hire agreement that states that you want full ownership to the copyright, because whoever creates that work of art, they are the actual owner and they have the full copyrights unless you get a transfer agreement. Okay. And so, what that transfer agreement is called a work for hire agreement. When you have someone create, flyers, book covers, whatever graphic, that you have them to create on your behalf, you want to maintain full ownership, because you don't want to blow up 10 years later and someone comes back and say, you know what? I created that book cover. I don't have any agreements. I'm the owner, and they can get some of your royalties. So you want to make sure that you have full ownership of your intellectual property, your cover, your graphics, excuse me, all of your items that you're having created to promote your book. So again, always get a work for hire agreement, and you can get a work for hire agreement from an intellectual property attorney. Okay, there are quite a few out there. After I do the presentation, I will put some of those attorneys' names in the comments so you can, check it out. Sometimes they have sales where they have the copy, the work for hire agreement for $99. There are also some books that hold different contracts like copyright, contract, agreement information, and work for hire agreements. There is a book on Amazon. It's called Copyrights, Patents, and Trademarks. But I'll put that resource in the comments below as well. Okay. Now, the next question is true or false? The final page count and paper type help calculate my spine width. And what a spine width is this right here. It shows how wide your book is. So if you have the final page count and paper type, does that help to determine your spine width? True or false? I'm going to see if I see any comments in here. Okay. And so, yes, Sylvia, thank you so much, Sylvia. She put the Eventbrite invitation in the comments. Okay. So the next answer is true. The spine width is calculated from the final page count and the paper thickness, because some types of paper are thicker and it makes the spine cover wider. And the trim size and binding method, however you have it bound, that also determines how wide your spine is. Okay. And the last question that we have, true or false? I can't have the same book title as someone else. Is that true or false? Can I have the same book title as this author over here? Can we have the same book title? Okay, so it says I can't have the same book title, and that is false. You can have the same book title, but why would you do it? Because it'll cause confusion in the market. You want people to, when they looking you up, or, if they don't have your direct link, if they go to Amazon or go wherever, go to, the bookstore, you want to be able to have a clear distinction of who you are versus someone else. So book titles generally are not protected with copyright. So identical and similar titles are allowed. However, you don't want to do that because you don't want there to be confusion in the marketplace regarding your book brand, your author brand. You want to make sure that you stand out as the professional author that you are, and you want to avoid confusingly similar titles in the same market or genre. So if it's another nonfiction author, you want to avoid having the same title as a book for you as they do. And it reduces consumer confusion. And then also, as far as trademarks, now I'm not a trademark attorney, but I've just done so much research regarding that. But you can only trademark a series, but you cannot trademark your title. If you have a great title, it's like, oh, I want to trade. You can't copyright your title, but you can only trademark series. If you have a book series, you can trademark the series title, but you cannot trademark just your regular title. If you have a one book series, just one book, you cannot trademark that or copyright that, the book title. Okay, so I just wanted to ask these questions just to get our minds going in the order of the presentation today. So today's presentation, if you got I don't know if Sylvia was able to share the book cover workbook in the comments. Okay, let me answer some questions. What can you do if you've published your book but find out later someone else has a book title similar to yours? Well, your book is already published. If you're self-published, you can update your title if you want to, but you don't really have to at that point because you're already published. But it's just going forward. Just make sure that you are distinct in your title so you don't want to get confusion with your other authors out there. You can also, if you're self-published, you can also, revamp it and change it, update it with a new book cover, and also change the name if you want to. If you are growing and you're getting a lot of support and you want to, grow your author brand, it's up to you. You can update that title if you want to, but if it's already out there, it depends on how successful that book is. You may want to change the cover. You may not. It just depends on how successful the book is. And if it's not successful, then it may give you a idea. Maybe I should update the title and update the book cover and maybe update some of the content that you have in your book. So that's a good question, Sylvia. Okay. Okay. So Sylvia is getting the link right now because there's a workbook that I created for you. Okay. So it's a book cover checklist 2026 is 4 pages, 2 pages of content, and then there's a page for notes. Okay, so Sylvia is going to get it and put it in the comment section. Okay, so if you don't have it right now, you can watch the replay and you'll be able to get it later on. If you do not have it, I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can upload it. I'm not sure. I don't think I can. I can't upload it right now. So, okay. So let's go over. Let's start from the very beginning. Title and author details. Okay. So title and author details. Your title must stand out. So let me just use one of my books as an example. Okay. So this book is my most recent published book. Is called Skyrocket Your Success 2.0. So Skyrocket Your Success. When you listen to that title, you think that you're going to accelerate your success, right? So Skyrocket Your Success 2.0, because this is the second book in the series of Skyrocket Your Success. Okay. Now, there's a subtitle. My subtitle is The Corporate Woman's Roadmap to Navigate from Employee to Entrepreneur. So in that subtitle, it stands out. It tells you who my target audience is and what the promise of my book is. So your title, and we're talking about nonfiction books today. Okay, so that's my expertise in nonfiction books. But some of this may relate to other genres as well. So your title tells what the book is about, but your subtitle kind of narrows it down and lets you know who your target audience is and what your promise is to your audience. So my book is The Corporate Woman's Roadmap. So it's for corporate women who want to navigate from employee to entrepreneur. So it tells you it's clear and upfront. So make sure that your title is clear and your subtitle kind of specifies, not kind of, but specifies who your ideal reader is and what your promise is to them. Okay. All right. Let me just look here at the comments, and I believe Sylvia just put in the workbook. If not, you'll get it later. Okay. All right. So subtitle, author name. How do you want your author name to appear? Okay. You have to be very specific because this is the thing. However you have your author name appear, you want to have it consistent with all those books in the genre. So if you're doing a nonfiction book, right? So my books are nonfiction. The books that I have out are nonfiction. I do have a fiction book coming out one day soon. But the nonfiction books are titled the same. It's called Shar Halliburton. So I have my first name, middle initial, and last name. That's how I have it listed. Okay. Now, if you have credentials, if you have a PhD or you have any other credentials that you want to list and it's relevant to your book, you may want to list that because that gives you more credibility as well. Okay. But if you have credentials that really doesn't, matter with, regarding your book title, you don't have to list it. But if you do have credentials, you can list it after your name. If you, are a minister, if you're a pastor, but whatever credentials you have that lend a credibility to your topic, then you may want to include those credentials. Again, so the first thing that we're talking about on the cover checklist is your title, author details. So your title, make sure your title is finalized before you get your book cover because you don't want to order your book cover and then all of a sudden I want to change it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that your graphic artist can change it, but it may be an additional cost. Okay. Your subtitle, identify your target audience and clarify your promise to your target audience. And that is one thing that sometimes people don't even realize, that you want to help yourself as far as discoverability. If someone's looking up certain things, because people are, searching Amazon, searching Google, if you have that specific subtitle, it's going to let you know, it's going to let the readers know that you're looking for them. And then they are, more attracted to your book because they know that this book is just for them. Okay. Now, the next category that we're going to talk about for the book cover checklist is book specifications. Okay. And when I say the book specifications, I'm talking about the trim size, This book is 6x9. Okay, 6x9 is very popular trim size, and also 5.5 by 8 or 5x8. Those are very popular trim sizes. So this is a standard book size, 6x9 for a nonfiction book. Okay, and different genres have specific book sizes that they have for that particular genre. Spine width. We talked about that with the pre-test. Your final page count and paper type help to determine how wide this width is. And on the width, you could have your book title, you can have the author name, and sometimes you may want to, you might even want to have the publisher's logo on that. So it depends on, what you want in reference to, because this is your book and what you agree upon. If you're self-publishing it, or if you're working with a publisher or a service provider, you let them know what you want. Okay. And depending on how wide that spine is can determine what's going to be on that spine. Okay. And then bleed settings. The bleed settings are the spaces at the top, the margins at the top and the side and the bottom of your book. Okay. And those bleed spaces, typically 0.125 on all sides. Now, a lot of these specifications you may not know, but your graphic artist will know. Just be aware of this. When I share this information, I want you to be aware consumers, because a lot of people who want to publish books, a lot of new authors, they do not know, they don't do research, and then they get taken advantage of. So that's why I'm sharing this information, so that even if you're going with a publisher, you can ask those intelligent questions to make sure that you're on the same page and you don't get surprised on the back end. Okay, so let's take a look, and I'm checking to see if we have any other questions before we go to the next section here. All right. Book genre and marketing positioning. Okay, so your book genre, if it's self-help, business, memoir, religious book, whatever the genre is, you want to make sure that you do research on what those book covers look like in your genre. Okay. And the best place, one of the easiest places to do your research is on Amazon, Amazon.com. Go to the bestsellers list, type in your genre, and look at those look at those best-selling books. What do they have in common? What colors? What formats do they have? Look at those best-selling books, because that's going to be the key. You don't want to copy it, but you want to use that for inspiration, so you'll know you're on the right track. Okay. Your target audience defines. Your target audience will help you with your book cover as well. With your target audience, you may do specific research about what your target audience likes, okay? Because your book is not for everyone. Even though we want everybody to buy our books are not for everyone. Everyone will not want to read your book. So this book right here, The Corporate Woman's Roadmap to Navigate from Employee to Entrepreneur, people know that it's a business book for women who are in corporate America that want to transition to entrepreneurship, right? So this color, like teal, that's one of the colors I researched, and they said that's a very attractive color for professional women. So teal and gold and white. So I did research on that to find out regarding the target. Now, research on Amazon. Again, you want to go to Amazon, the best-selling books. You want to choose 2 to 3 book covers that are covers that you like, okay? Because when either if you're doing it and you're looking for a graphic designer, you want to be able to show them what you want in your book cover, okay? You want to be able to let them know what's interesting to you and what you like, so they can create a book cover that's going to be to your liking. You're going to look for, again, common design styles, font choices, and color trends, okay? You can research that. In just a second, we're going to talk about how you can research colors, and I'm going to give you some information on how to go online and look at all the different broad colors, okay? The next thing we're going to talk about, and I'll get to any questions afterwards. I'll just go through this to make sure that we have time to cover everything, okay? All right, so vision design elements, okay? So that is, now select one main color. So the main color for this one is the teal color, right? And then you need about 2 accent colors, okay? So my accent colors are gold and white, okay? Gold and white are the accent colors. And this line is across here because this is just a draft copy of the book. this is the one that I grabbed. This is just a draft copy. That's what this line is across here. But so you want to pick one color, one main color, and you want to get like 2 accent colors for your book. Okay. And then you want to research the different colors. It's called the hex, HEX codes. You can Google hex calculator, HEX calculator. You can go online and Google that, and it'll give you all the colors and give you a number for the color. And so when you present your request for your book to your graphic artist, you can tell them the color, like your favorite color, whatever the number is. And the numbers are like 1137 or whatever. I don't know how many digits they have, but maybe like probably like 5 to 6 digits for each color. Okay. And then do you want your cover to be matte or glossy? This cover is glossy. I don't know if you can see it, but this is glossy. But depending on your book, you might want to have a matte color. A matte cover and not glossy. So it's up to you. What do you envision for your book? Okay. The next thing is we're going to talk about author assets. And this is what's very important. All of this is important, but your author assets are very important. I cannot stress this enough. You need to have a professional headshot, not a selfie. But you need to have a professional headshot. And I know that things are expensive, how the economy is going right now, but this is a business. Your book is the beginning of your book is the beginning of an information-based business. So this is a business investment. You want to get a professional headshot. And then right now, if you can't afford a professional headshot, they do have AI programs that can help you take a selfie and turn it into a professional headshot. Okay. But what I would say is invest in going to a professional photographer. But if you cannot afford it, look at an AI option, but make sure it looks like you, because some people have these AI options and you can't even recognize them. So like if you had an AI photo and then you were invited to speak somewhere, right? When you show up, do you look like the photo? You want to make sure that you look like your photo so people can recognize you. Okay. So just be very careful with those apps, because sometimes those apps change up different features and, it doesn't look like you. So you want to make sure that if you are using the AI program, you want to make sure that the photo looks like you and people can recognize who you are. Okay. So your professional headshot, high resolution, and that's typically going to be located on the bottom left of your book. Okay. The bottom left of your book is where your professional headshot will be. A short bio. Now, I've mentioned this in previous presentations before. You want to have different options for your bio. You want to have a short bio, 50 words. You want to have a longer bio, 150 words. And you might want to have a longer bio because, say, for instance, you're going to get a presentation, you're going to get an award. They sometimes want to have longer bios to provide more information about the author. So do 3 versions. Do a 50-word count bio, do a 150, and then do 250 to 500, just so you'll have it, okay? But for the most part, when someone is introducing you, they're not going to read those long bios, but have a short, snappy bio for introduction in case you are giving a presentation and someone's introducing you. Okay. But to have different versions of those bios and keep those in a folder. Once you write them, keep them, save them so that you'll have it on hand for whatever you need. You want to be ready at all times. Okay. Also your website URL. What is your website URL? You want to have that and put that on the back of your cover. Also your social media handles. And you want to make sure your social media handles match. Okay. You don't want to have, like for me, Cutie Publishing, Shar Detroit Publishing. I have Cutie Publishing on Facebook. I have it on Instagram. I have it on Twitter or X. So make sure it's consistent so people can find you and they're not trying to figure out who you are. And on this page, you're, have different names. You want to make sure your name branding is the same, consistent on all your social media platforms so people can find you and so there won't be any confusion. Okay. You want to make sure you stand out as a professional and there's no confusion when it comes to finding you. You want people to find you, right? So they can book you. All right. The next thing is the back cover content. Okay. We kind of briefly talked about the author bio, but this is very important. The book synopsis. Okay. That is basically like an intro to your book. You're going to give them your book description. You may want to start out with a question to kind of engage them. I put on the top of my book cover, I put a statement: tap into your greatness. It's time to own your genius and pursue entrepreneurship. This is for professional women that are stuck in corporate America. Okay. So what I did was I asked a couple of questions at the top. Are you a professional woman stuck in your 9-to-5 due to fear of failing while pursuing your dream of entrepreneurship? Do you feel the inner push to cultivate your God-given gifts and talents that have been lying dormant for years? And then I put, I'll just read it to you. As a professional woman in corporate America, you may be experiencing a roller coaster of emotions like overwhelm and frustration. Deep down inside, you are no longer fulfilled in your current profession. Despite the remarkable successes that you've experienced in your career, you feel that it's time to elevate to the next level. That next level is calling you to pursue your God-given purpose. It is time to stop procrastinating, set clear goals, honor your zone of genius, and officially become the successful entrepreneur that you were meant to be. Okay, so that's the intro paragraph. And then you have 3 to 5 bulleted points. Okay, then I put Skyrocket Your Success 2.0 will teach professional women how to, the first bullet point, assess your current skill set and discover your zone of genius. The second bullet point, unapologetically redefine your definition of success. And then the next one was boost your emotional intelligence and confidence while developing a champion mindset for entrepreneurship. So that's the first 3 bullet points. So have a intro paragraph, 3 to 5 bulleted points, and then have a closing statement. And like, for instance, my closing statement is Skyrocket Your Success 2.0 presents a step-by-step framework to transition from unfulfilled employee to successful entrepreneur. This book will help you abandon self-sabotaging behaviors so you can utilize your innate skills. You will learn how to monetize your genius while creating a blueprint for attaining optimal skyrocketing success in entrepreneurship. So give them a bang at the end. So you want to give them an intro. You want to tell them what they'll learn as a result of reading your book. And then you want to provide a finalized statement, a closing statement. Okay. If you have endorsements are good. Also, if you have someone that's in the field that you're writing about, have endorsements. You can have it on the front cover of the book. You can have it on the back cover of the book. Endorsements are also great. And publisher's name and logo. So I have my logo down here with Shar Detroit Publishing because I, published it myself. So that's the back cover details. You want to have a poppin' book synopsis. Again, book description is your intro paragraph, 3 to 5 bulleted points, and a closing statement. Okay. This is something that people read and say, do I want to get this book or not? You want to make it stand out. You want people to want to, purchase your book. You want them to see the value in what you're offering. So you can give them like, basic, analysis of what's in your book. Okay. So that's the back cover checklist. Okay. Printing details. Now, when you are self-publishing, you want to know where are you going to have your book available? Who's going to print your book? Now, there are local printers that you can go to. And then also, if you're self-publishing, you might want to save some money and maybe publish your book on Amazon, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is the publishing channel that will get you to all the different bookstores and everything. And then you might have an offset printer other than KDP. There are a lot of different printers. There's Lulu. There's Draft to Digital. There are a lot of different printers, but each printer has their own specifications on how your book file should be. Okay. So your printer specific cover template, you want to download that when your graphic artist creates it. You want to download that and save it. Okay. In a format and name it. So you'll know if you need to provide your book cover for a future, projects or whatever you want to, once you get it from your graphic artist, you want to download it and save it on your computer. Okay. And you want to, again, provide the correct spine width for the printer specifications. Okay. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is, look at the time, it's 10:28. Okay. I'm going to go over this and then I'll look at the questions and then, I'll share some bonus tips with you. Okay. Barcode and ISBN, your barcode for your books on the back. You can get your barcode. The only place to get your barcode is Bowker.com, BOWKER.com. That's the only place to get your book cover barcode. And ISBN, International Standard Book Number. That is like the book Social Security number. Okay. And whoever owns it, whoever purchases it is the owner and considered the publisher of the book. Okay. So there are free ISBNs. Like if you go to Amazon, you can get a free ISBN, but if you get a free ISBN, it limits where you can sell your book. Okay. So you want to purchase your own ISBN so you can take your book and sell it on any platform. Okay. So that's very important. Okay. Barcode generated. So when you go to Barker.com, they're going to give you a barcode. You're going to download that barcode and you're going to give that to your graphic designer because they're going to put it on the back of your book, on the right hand corner of the back of your book. They're going to give you that barcode. Okay. And the placement typically at the bottom right of the back of book cover. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take a few minutes and look and see if we have any questions. And then once we answer those, we're going to go into the bonus tips. Okay. ISBN, International Standard Book Number. Barker is where you get your ISBNs. And okay, question. Is it professional to put your website and social media on the back cover of your book? Yes, it is professional. It is. It's just where do you want to have it? A lot of times I see it in this like bottom corner or underneath the, sometimes I even see it underneath the author's photo. You can do that. Yes. I mean, it's no problem with that. As long as everything looks, flows correctly. But I've seen it a lot underneath, the picture. I have mine here. It says for additional information. I have my website, SharHalliburton.com, but you can put your social media. Yeah. I've done it also for, some authors before. I don't want to have anything falling down, but I did it before. I had it listed, for an author that I published on the back of her book. So yes, that's fine to do that. All right. I'm just going to refresh this to see if there are any other questions. And any questions that I missed, I will go back and answer them in afterwards. Okay. For some reason, I'm not getting all of the questions. It's always a delay for me. I don't know why. I'll get it later on. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the bonus tips. Okay. So this is a very important bonus tip. Have a professional editor proofread all your book cover assets, including your synopsis and bio. Okay. So before you submit your information to your graphic artist, have a professional editor look at it. Okay. Because you might be using the wrong word. You might be using the wrong tense. You have a editor look at it just to give you a final okay before you submit it to your graphic designer. Okay. Especially your synopsis and your bio. What I usually do is, if you work with me, I have like in the beginning stages before we even get to your book, we do the foundational things. I ask you who your target audience is. We create your synopsis, your bio, and, do the book cover, do all of those, preliminary things so that you can use your cover. Once you get your cover created, you can use that to do a pre-sale campaign. Okay. To pre-sale your book. So, you want to make sure that you do your synopsis and bio and you have a professional editor look it over and approve it before you submit it, because I know it's the worst thing to get your book cover created and you looking like, oh my God, I have an error there. But if you took the time to have it professionally edited, you wouldn't have that issue. So this is a business. Your book is your business. You do not have to rush. Okay. You don't have to rush. This is a process to make sure everything is in order. Okay. Do not rush. Do the things, do your due diligence so that you can be perceived as the professional authorpreneur that you are. Okay. You don't want to just be like, oh, I'm an author. You want to be purposeful. Why did you become an author? You became an author because you want to share your knowledge. You want to have another stream of income. It's not just about getting the book out. It's not a race. Okay. You want to do your due diligence and make sure that you do everything in a professional manner. Okay. And how to do that. There is the IBPA, which is the Independent Book Publishers Association. I always talk about this. They have this checklist for an industry standard book checklist, right? You can grab one of these on their website. I'll put it in the comments afterwards, but it tells you what the professional standards for a professional book. Okay. So take a look at that, but I'll put that information in the comment section. Okay, the next bonus tip is to make sure your title is visible over design complexity. You don't want a complex book cover that it's hard to find what your title is. You don't want it to be a puzzle when someone looks at your book. You want it to be clear. You want it to be clear who your target audience is, clear what your book promise is, clear who it's, for, and what you're going to do as a result of reading, what the reader will get from reading your book. You want to have clear. Less is better. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's nice to have a cute book cover, right? But your book cover should be purposeful, and it should align with your goals for becoming an author and your genre for your book. Okay. Your title should communicate the value and the desired outcome for your target reader. And you want to make sure that your cover title is big enough. I've seen some cover titles that are very small. You want to make your main title stand out, and your subtitle can be small, but your main title needs to be big, bold letters so people will know what the book title is. Okay. The third bonus tip is to make sure the cover is clean, bold, and readable at the thumbnail size. So when your book cover designer creates your book, they're going to create your book cover. And then also when you have you'll have a thumbnail to use for your advertising for on your social media, and then you'll have to upload it in Amazon as well. So make sure that it's readable. Okay. Even though it's going to be small, make sure that it's readable. Okay. And the last thing, make sure your graphic artist signs a work for hire agreement to ensure you own your creative works. Okay. And again, I'm going to put some intellectual property attorneys' names in the comments afterwards, so you can get a work for hire agreement. Okay. I purchased several of those in the past. A lot of times they have sales like during the holiday time. I purchased a couple of them for like $90 because like I had one, the first work for hire agreement I had, it was very expensive because I didn't know that they were options that were cheaper. So I had a consultation with an attorney, and I told her what I was doing and what I needed it for. And it was probably because of her time as well. But I think it was I think it was maybe $800 for the consultation and the creation of the work for hire agreement. But then there are some basic ones that you can get from attorneys that are sound. You can get them, on sale, but I'll put a list of attorneys that you can contact. And also there is a book that has a work for hire agreement. It's called, I think, Copyrights, Patents, and Trademarks. It's on Amazon. I'll look for it and put it in the comments as well. Okay. So those are the bonus tips that I had. So what I'm going to do is, hi, Monica. Thanks so much for joining. We're talking about book covers today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over this checklist one more time. And then after that, I'll check to see if we have any other questions. Okay. So the book cover, first thing, your title and your author details. You want to make sure your title is bold. Your title is clear. Skyrocket your success. Okay. You want to make sure it stands out, right? And then your subtitle can be smaller. So you see my subtitle is smaller. It's at the top. Sometimes subtitles are at the bottom. So it's up to you how you want it to look. Okay. So you want to have a bold title. You want to have a subtitle that identifies who your target audience is and clarify your promise. Again, my subtitle is The Corporate Woman's Roadmap to Navigate from Employee to Entrepreneur. So it tells you who the book is for, corporate women, and they want to become entrepreneurs. They're in corporate America feeling stuck, and they want to do what they've been called to do. That feeling they've had deep down inside, and they said, they kept procrastinating, right? This book is for them, to help them. It's like a springboard to get them out of their head and to get into action. Okay. So that is the first thing. Author name. How do you want your author name to appear? Right? Do you want to have your middle initial included? Do you want to include, if you have a PhD or, doctorate, do you want to have those credentials included? How do you want, now, if they align with your title, you want to have those credentials included if that pertains to you. Okay. So book specifications, the trim size, 6x9 is standard, or 5x8 is standard. Spine width, you need your final page count. It determines how wide this is, and you can have your title on it. You can have your name on it. You can have the logo of your publisher on it, along with your name and the title. Depends on how wide it is. Okay. It's up to you. What do you want? Okay. Genre and market positioning. So your book genre, like I said, go to Amazon.com and research books that are in your genre. Get 2 to 3 books that you love, and then you can share that with your graphic artist and let them know that I want something on the lines of this. You don't want the same thing, but you know, using that for inspiration. Okay. Hex codes. What colors? Right? I said, research the colors that are in your target audience, and you can Google hex calculator, HEX calculator, and it'll show you all the different ranges of colors. Okay. Do you want your book to be matte or glossy? This is glossy. You can probably see it shining a little bit. This cover is glossy. Do you want a matte cover or glossy cover? Okay. And if you have a hardcover book, you have a jacket on the hardcover book. So there are some other details regarding a hardcover book. You have like a jacket that you can get to place over the book cover for the hardcover. Do I have for example, I don't want to knock something down over here. So this book is a hardcover book. Okay, this is a hardcover book. It has a jacket. Okay, so the jacket has a lot of the stuff that, because of the hardcover book, it has nothing on the front or the back. The jacket has the details. Okay, so it's the book cover. This is the book by Tiffany Alashe. Get Good with Money. Okay, so she has her name at the top. Get good with money. And then as far as your picture on the cover, that's another thing. Sometimes I've been told, and I hear a lot, you may not want to have your book cover on your picture on the cover, unless it's something that you want, that's fine. But unless you are someone that people knows, because like if you, like your family and friends know you, right? But if no one knows you, that really doesn't draw, unless there's something in the story that is reflected, you know, in your photo. But people don't know you. That really doesn't help to sell your book by having your, you know, face on the cover, unless people know you. Okay. But if that's what you want, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I've been taught by coaches that unless you are very popular, and people know who you are, that lends credibility to your message in your book. But if it doesn't, you don't have to have your picture on the cover. Okay. So it's up to you what you want to do. But I just wanted to show you that a hardcover, you have a jacket that can be removed. And the jacket has all the stuff, like it has the front cover, the spine. So on her spine, she's got the title, her name, and then the logo for the publisher on here. And her back cover doesn't have her picture. So it's up to you how you want to have your, you know, book cover. Okay. So just showing you a different option. Your bio, again, your professional author assets. Okay. You want to have a professional author photo. Invest in your project by getting a professional photo. Okay. Don't use a selfie. And if you do have to use a selfie, if you can't afford it, you can use, like I said, there are some AI tools that you can use, but some of those AI tools, you know, it doesn't look like you, right? You want to get something that looks like you. And if you do use an AI tool, tell them to use the exact photo, because sometimes the AI features or changes something and changes your nose or how your smile is. Make sure that you tell them in that AI program to use my exact face, because I've seen some good ones now. So if you have to go that route, but my advice is to get a professional photo from a professional photographer. Okay. This is a business asset that's very important. Okay. You need a short author bio. You need versions of your bio. You need a short author bio for the back of your book. You need a longer author bio for about the author, which is in the back of your book. About the author. You need a longer one to put in the back of your book. And then you want another one that will, you know, list a little bit more about your credentials or whatever. So 3 versions, and save it in a Word file for future use. Okay. Your website URL, your social media handles you can put on the back of your book if you want to. Okay. It's up to you. However you want to do that. What else did we talk about? Make sure you save your cover when you get your documents from your graphic artists, make sure you save them in a file, download it and save it in a file. And you get your barcode from Bowker.com, BOWKER.com. The ISBN is $125 per format. So for ebook is $125, for paperback $125, for hardcover $125, audio $125 per different ISBN, okay, per format. Now you can buy a bulk amount. I think you can get 10 for like 200 and is it $200 or $325 to get 10 of them? And if you plan to, write books in the future, I would say it's best for you to go ahead and just get the 10, because if you get 4, it's going to be more expensive than if you get the bulk amount of 10. Okay. All right. So let me look in these. Let me look at this. Hi, Lisa, my sister. You said you have to do your bio. Yes, you have to do your bio. Yep. Do your bio. Do you need a logo? You don't need a logo. You don't need a logo, but you can have one. Okay. If you're self-publishing, you don't need a logo, but if you want a logo, you can. If you're self-publishing, you can have your own. Because when I started with Shar Detroit Publishing, my goal was to just publish my books. That wasn't in my head to publish other people, because my thing is I wanted to write a book, and I researched it, and I knew about traditional publishing and how long it took for you to be to find a literary agent and everything. I said, no, I'm going to do self-publishing. And I just created Shar Detroit Publishing. And as I shared my journey, people started asking me questions. So that's how I started to do presentations and have clients and things like that. But it was the goal to self-publish. So if you want to have a logo, you can do it. If you don't, it's not necessary. It's up to you. That's, something that you would decide on, what works best for you. Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to refresh this again to see if I see any other questions. And again, if you have questions I did not answer, just put them in the chat and I will answer them after the live today. Let me just look. I don't know why it's not showing me the comments. I always have this issue. It never shows me the comments. I see some of them. I see from Sylvia, and it's like they disappear. I don't know why it does that. Okay. But like I said, if you have questions, let me know. Put them in the comments. If you're looking to publish a nonfiction book, because I specialize in nonfiction books, and you want to see if we're a good fit to work together, you can send me a direct message. You can send me an email, which my email is on the last page of the worksheet. Okay. Or send me a direct message or put it in the comments, and then we'll set up time to talk to see if we, can work together. Okay. Let's talk about, I had pulled something out. Okay. So on that last page with the notes, it said, let's talk about after you get your book cover done, let's talk about how to become more visible and credible. Okay. And I'm just looking at a previous presentation that I had. But let me just say this to you. Having a professional book cover is so important, and it lends to your credibility as a professional author. Okay. And like I said, if you do a nonfiction book, a subtitle lets the reader know who this book is for and what your promise is. Okay. And it just sets you up as a professional author. This is your best asset. This is your marketing tool. Okay. And you can use your book to introduce people into your coaching programs. If you are a coach, because I'm a certified life and business coach as well, you can use your book as the first step to introduce people into your world. Okay. Writing a professional book is the best way, the uninterrupted way to communicate with your ideal reader. And in your book, at the back of your book, you can invite them to a free consultation so that you can see if you can, offer them whatever the book is, whatever. If you have a coaching program, I created a coaching program based upon my book. I created a 4-part framework for professional women to navigate from unfulfilled employee to successful entrepreneur. And from that, I created a coaching program. So this is just the foundation of anything that you offer. Most nonfiction books, well, not most, each nonfiction book should solve a problem for your target audience. What book what problem does your book solve if it's nonfiction? Okay, what does it solve? It should solve a problem. It shouldn't just be a way for you just to tell your story. You're going to tell your story and what? Give them tools and resources so they don't have to go through the same thing that you went through. Okay. It's a tool that you can use to communicate to people to improve their lives. And it's an uninterrupted way for you to get your point across to your target person, target reader. Okay. You are welcome. So I hope you all were able to get your checklist. If you weren't, I can't see if it's in the chat or not, but I'm going to, if it's not in the chat, you can send me a direct message. I'll email it to you, or I'll see if I can post it in the group. Okay. Somehow. So we got 10 minutes. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm refreshing to see if any questions are going to come through here. Let's see. So I'm going to wait for a little while. Okay. So Denise Bryson, thank you. Great advice. Oh, great. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. But again, I want to remind you to attend the event. Let me just pull this information up again for Sylvia's event. She wants us to show up for her today. And let's see, hold on one second. It is entitled, I don't know what happened to this. Hold on one second. Okay, it's called Connecting Chapters Through Written Thoughts and Voices. That's the name of the event. It's today from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it's $25 entry fee. And the address again is 11036 Whittier Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. Okay, and so it says the purpose of this event is to help you begin writing with confidence and authority, expand your knowledge of publishing, marketing, promotion, and book distribution, connect and network with the author community. So this should be a good event. I'm gonna try to stop by for a minute. I do have a consultation around 2, but I'll maybe get there a little bit early, and maybe I can just do it in the car. So I'm gonna plan to show up this afternoon. So there was something else that I wanted to share. Oh, I do want to welcome, over the past week we've had, I think, like 70 or 80 new members that have joined us in Motown Writers Group. So I just want to welcome you to Motown Writers Group. If you having difficulties with your author journey, share them in the group, and someone that can assist you will be more than happy to provide resources to you. Okay, so welcome to all the new members for the Motown Writers Group. Okay, so I am pretty much done. Like I said, if I see any other questions, I'm gonna look one more time. If I see any other questions, I will answer them. Okay, so I see questions now. Okay, so I see it now. I pulled up a different view. Okay, so I answered that question already. That bonus is the most important tip. Great. Yeah, these bonus tips. The most important thing when it comes to your book cover is to make sure this is something that you love. I remember when the first book I published was an ebook, but when I published the first book in the Skyrocket Your Success series, the book cover was okay. I was anxious to get my book out, so I went along with it. But then I was like, I really don't like this book cover as much as I wanted to, right? So I revamped it and I changed it, and it looks like this book. They're the same color, and because it's a series, so I wanted to look similar or whatever. But it's up to you to do the research on the front end. Do the research on the front end so that you're happy with this product. This is your baby. It's just like birthing a child, and you are going to invest in your product, because your book is the beginning of an information-based business. I tell you, there are so many things that you can do once you become a published author. You can speak, you have speaking engagements, you can do workshops based upon your book content. You know, you can, this is up to you, what you want to create. This is your world. Okay. This is your ecosystem. This is what you create. You can create assets. You can create a podcast. I created a podcast from my book, Skyrocket Your Success. You can create workshops. You can create partnerships and collaborations with other authors. There's so many things that you can do. And I do this alongside, I have a 9-to-5. I am an insurance agent. I've been an insurance agent for 26 years now. So that's my 9-to-5. But other than my 9-to-5, I have this book business, you know, and you can make it what you want. Okay. It's up to you. Make it what you want. You can become just an author just to sell your books. But if people get interested in your book topic, they're going to want to talk to you. They want to be upfront with you. You can, you know, just do chapter by chapter. You can go through each chapter and create a worksheet for each chapter. Like, for instance, my first chapter is being stuck is no longer an excuse. You know how you have a dream and you say, oh, I'm stuck. And then it's just, you just drop it, right? Being stuck is no longer an excuse. So I can do a whole workshop about being stuck is no longer an excuse. You can take your content and change it into a workshop. You can change it into a conference. It's up to you. My chapter 2, tap into your zone of genius. So this is like assessing who you are, what your skills are. That's another workshop there. I mean, this is up to you. You can do whatever you want to do with this. This is your business. You become an authorpreneur, an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur. So it's up to you to do what you want with your book. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. And again, I'll go back through the comments. Let me look and see if we have anything else here. You are welcome. Good morning to anyone. Again, you don't need a logo. That's up to you. Okay. Just looking here. Don't forget to join Motown Writers this afternoon again. Motown Writers this afternoon for the workshop. And we'll have the flyer listed. It's on the east side on Whittier. Okay. Do you need a work for hire contract created by an attorney or agreement that is both parties signing it? Yes, the work for hire, both parties do sign the work for hire agreement. Again, I would say contact an intellectual property attorney, but there are some work for hire agreements in some books. Like there's a book on Amazon. It's called Copyrights, Trademarks, and Patents. And it has a copy of a work for hire agreement. But again, I would say get the ones from the intellectual property attorneys. And I'm pretty sure the one that's in that copyright book is one from an attorney. So I'm going to share that resource. What time is the event? The event today is from, I think it's at 2 to 5. Let's see. The event, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. is the time for the event. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Love my cover. Thank you so much. I had kind of studied it. I wish I could find my old book. I was just kind of crazy busy, and I don't want to start moving stuff back here because I'll start knocking stuff down. I'm trying to see if I can find my old book cover to show you what it looked like before. Oh, I have it. This is my first book cover for Skyrocket Your Success. This is the one that I published in 2019. This is the first book cover. Now, my book is for professional women. Now, this cover looks kind of generic, but the updated one, I think, kind of feels more, in line with my ideal, reader. This one is like more generic or whatever, and it's kind of masculine. I wanted to appeal to professional women, and I think this color scheme and the writing and everything on it, and again, excuse this line, this is just a draft copy, it's more in tune with my target audience. So yeah, so like I wrote this book, I published it myself, and I said, you know what, I don't like it. It's up to you to change it. That's one thing I like about being a self-published author. You hold the keys to all the transformations that you want to make. You can do it. It's yours. It's your baby. You can do what you want to with it. Okay, so I guess that's the end of this talk today. Like I said, I'll go back and I'll answer all of your questions in the comments. If you do want to set up a discovery call, let me know. And I'll be more than happy to meet with you and just see if we're a good fit. And I want to create a workshop. If you have any ideas, want to create a workshop, we can meet on Zoom and do a workshop for Motown Writers Group. Okay, so give me an idea, and then we'll come together and I'll create a workshop and we'll do that so we can take you to the next step in your nonfiction writing career. All right, have a good Saturday, and I hope to see some of you at the event later today. Bye-bye.